Hello, I'm Michael.
I'm Sally, and this is Wrestle MSX.
The show opened with a recap of the events that took place on last week's Raw. Dominic helping Liv Morgan beat Becky Lynch. Trying to help Lynch win in last week's cage match. Liv Morgan then made her way to the ring. She bragged about taking out Rhea Ripley, putting Becky Lynch into early retirement, and also kissing Dom Dom. After laughing about the kiss, Dirty Dom headed out to the ring, probably for seconds. Every time he went to speak, he was roundly booed out the Giant Centre. When Dominic finally got to speak, he told Liv that Mummy's going to kill her. Liv responded and said, Mummy's going to kill you. Liv then backed Dom into a corner, and I thought we were going to see a repeat of last week's kiss. But Daddy Balor came down and got between Monday Night Raw's new lovers, saying he's mine. No, he didn't actually say that, but he didn't look happy with Liv.
Next up, Sheamus against Ludwig Kaiser. As Sheamus made his way to the ring, Kaiser attacked Sheamus, targeting his knee. Back from the break, the match is already underway, with Kaiser still working on Sheamus's knee. It's a standard brawl between the two men before Sheamus clocks Kaiser with a knee from absolutely nowhere to put him down, but to no avail. 13 beats of the bow rain sets up a second rope white noise. But before Sheamus can execute, Kaiser slides down Sheamus's back and kicks the back of his knee. Sheamus falls to the mat and Kaiser rolls him up for a 3 count. Wonder what Gio's doing these days, eh?
Good old Gio.
As Kaiser exits the ring, the infamous QR code pops up.
Once scanned, it takes you to a web page with about 5 or 6 links that you can click on. Some links take you to videos, others are pictures, others are web pages that we've seen before. It's the usual kind of stuff. If you're into it, we're into it, don't get me wrong, I'm loving it. But it's just too much to keep reading into.
It's a lot to explain.
Let's just get out, let's see them, let's see what they're going to do.
I'll put the link in the description as well. Back at the Judgment Day Den, we see Damien Priest asking Dom what he's doing and telling him to sort it with Mummy.
After the break, we catch up with Ricochet and Ilya Dragunov, with Dragunov wishing Ricochet luck in his match with Bron Breakker later. And boy, is he going to need that luck.
Out next is Finn Balor for his match against Dragon Lee. Balor accompanied by JD McDonough. A sit-down powerbomb gets Lee a 2 count, but the coup de grace finishes it for Balor and picks up the win. Due partly to Carlito and JD distracting Lee during the match. After the bout, JD, Balor and Carlito beat on Lee, but he was saved by Strowman and Mysterio running down, and the Judgment Day scattered.
Back at the Judgment Day lair, we see Priest telling Carlito to go and find Adam Pearce so he can have a fight with Braun Strowman tonight.
Next out and heading to the ring, Sami Zayn. Zayn saying that Gable is a thorn in his side and he's not enjoying his time as the IC champ. He offered to settle this once and for all at Clash at the Castle and calls Gable out. Instead of Gable, the Alpha Academy come out.
Maxine Dupree is clutching a note from Gable. The note calls Tozawa a pretend ninja, Dupree a knockoff Barbie, and Otis a child that couldn't hold on to the Money in the Bank briefcase and that he wants a match for the IC belt. As Sami's about to respond, Gable attacks him from behind. Chad then holds Zayn, telling Otis to hit him. Of course, Otis doesn't do anything. Gable releases Zayn and slaps Otis, asking why he didn't hit Zayn. Tozawa then steps up to Gable, pulling him away from Otis. Gable then starts shouting at Tozawa before Dupree pulls Gable away from Tozawa. Stop, pleaded Maxine. If you want me to stop, get down and beg, Gable said.
Maxine got down to beg, then Gable said, get out of my ring. As Dupree started to leave, Otis got in Gable's face. This was it. Otis was turning on his sensei. The crowd went wild for this.
Absolutely mad for it.
As they stood there, Zayn attacked Gable from behind. As they fought, Otis started to leave the ring with Dupree and Tozawa on the ring apron.
Chad then threw Sami into Otis, who inadvertently knocked Dupree and Tozawa to the floor. Otis turned around, with Gable blaming Zayn for the bump. Otis slammed Zayn, then carried Tozawa and Dupree to the back, while Gable held the IC belt aloft.
We then see Bron Breakker watching on with Adam Pearce and thanking him for putting him in a match with Ricochet, which coincidentally is next.
But before the match, we see Chad Gable congratulating the Alpha Academy on what they did moments ago, with Chad finishing off by saying, at Clash of the Castle, we're going to win my IC belt.
Bron Breakker against Ricochet, and it's not quite the squash match I thought it was going to be. Ricochet dodging attacks and getting hits in where he could, a recoil even getting Ricochet a 2 count. But inevitably, it was all for nothing as Bron picks up the win with a Frankensteiner, a spear and a pin. After the match, Bron tosses Ricochet outside the ring to continue the damage, but out come refs and backstage hands to calm him down. Dragunov came out and managed to get a hit on Bron, which sends him reeling. Bron escapes through the crowd and Dragunov went over to see if Ricochet was okay.
Out next was Natalya, and she had a match against Kiana James. After a short but athletic match, James won.
Backstage, we see New Day preparing for their upcoming bout against AOP. They get interrupted by Karrion Kross, who tells Xavier Woods you won't need to follow him around anymore after tonight's match, meaning Kofi Kingston.
Now, I'm finding this storyline a little boring, to be honest with you.
What do you mean storyline? It's totally real, isn't it?
Up next is Braun Strowman versus Carlito. Strowman easily beating Carlito. He kind of just threw him down onto the mat face first, anyway, and then he pinned him, so easy. But then McDonough came out to beat on Strowman, but that didn't turn out too well as Strowman got the upper hand. Dirty Dom went for a chair shot on Braun, but got chased around the ring before Liv Morgan came out and stood between Strowman and her man, Dom. The numbers game was too much for Strowman in the end, as Balor, Carlito and JD rounded on him. JD getting multiple chair shots on Braun's knee as Balor and Carlito held him down. While all this was happening, Liv was making her move on Dom, getting within striking distance once again. Just when round 2 of kissing seemed to be on the cards, Balor slid out from the ring and stepped between Love's young dream. Daddy Finn looking after his little boy once again.
We then get a break, which I think is what we all need after Dom and Liv's stressed. Not quite so private though, is it?
Back from the break, we see the women's tag team champions, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, calling out Zoey Stark and Shayna Baszler. After some smack talk between the two of them, Adam Pearce makes an impromptu match between the two teams, and it is for the women's tag team belts. After a KOD on Stark, the match then gets interrupted by Elba Fire and Isla Dawn. Baszler, Stark, Fire and Dawn join forces and put a beat down on the tag champions, leaving them broken and battered in the ring.
Backstage, we hear from Rey Mysterio telling Damien Priest he'll see him soon.
Next, we see the Yeetmeister coming out through the crowd. He thanks everyone for being there for him after losing his family, storyline-wise. He tells us his plans for the summer, and no, it's not a holiday, but to win the Money in the Bank. And to be honest with you, I can actually see him winning that. I think he's the kind of
I think
character
Yeah.
to actually win that.
Backstage, yet again, and we see Lyra Valkyria saying she's going for Money in the Bank too, before being blindsided and attacked by Io Sky.
The penultimate match of the night was the New Day against AOP. AOP win with What a Rush. The most significant part of the match was when Woods went for a tag and Kofi wasn't there in his corner. He'd been distracted by a cross. With Woods tiring, AOP took advantage and the win.
Final match of the night, Rey Mysterio versus Damien Priest. A sweet looking DDT got Rey a 2 count, and it was a pretty even contest eventually after Priest had dominated the early part of the match. A huge clothesline got Priest a 2 count, then a 619 and dropping the dime got Rey a 2. Carlito then made an appearance to help Priest, but Dragon Lee came out to stop him. Balor and McDonough then came to Carlito's aid.
While this was happening, Rey went to the top rope to perform an aerial attack on Priest, but Priest got up, grabbed Rey and performed South of Heaven. Priest then covered Mysterio for the win. Out of nowhere, Priest was then attacked by Drew McIntyre, Drew managing to hit the Future Shock DDT on Priest. Drew sent Priest to the outside, then readied an announcer's table to put him through it. Priest, though, came round and chokeslammed Drew through the desk instead. Raw went off the air with the Judgment Day standing over Drew and Priest holding his title aloft. Now, it's about time that these two had a bit of interaction, because it's coming to Clash at the Castle and these two need to start
definitely
causing some aggro. Anyway, thank you again for watching.
And we hope to see you again soon.